how would you like to get a formula for permanent, predictable peak performance? And that formula can be applied to anything, whether it's your personal growth, the growth of your team, the sales, your business, it doesn't really matter. My name now is Sabina Dahl, and I help coaches with their business development and finding clients. And I learned this formula from Mack Newton in the hotroom in Scottsdale, where I recently was. And Mack Newton is a two-time world champion in Taekwondo. And he used this exact formula to get the Chicago Cubs in 2001 from last place to first place in one season. And those of you that know a little bit about baseball know how difficult or almost impossible it is to do something like that. And he used this exact formula with the team, and he taught them this formula, and it was a game changer. So here we go. There's 3 components that are required for permanent, predictable peak performance. One of them is IA, or in other words, inborn attributes or talent. So how talented you are, yes, that makes a difference. And especially in sports, that is obvious. How talented someone is makes a difference. So that's one of the elements, but it's just 1 out of 3. Second one is AA, is acquired attributes. Or in other words, practice. How much do you practice? How much did you learn? How much did you soak up on information to get better? So those 2 are equal. This plus this, and here comes the X factor. The X factor is A, which is attitude. Attitude is everything. Attitude is the X factor. And this is going to increase your peak performance exponentially if you put this A factor into place. Let me give you an example. So let's take the coaching business, for example. So one skill that a lot of coaches struggle with when it comes to the coaching business is sales. A lot of coaches are about serving, about helping people. I mean, most of the coaches. But when it comes to selling and asking for money, not so much. That's not a typical talent of a coach. So let's take 2 coaches, for example. Let's take Sarah and Tom. And let's take a look at these elements in their formula and what happens. So Sarah, she's not a natural at sales. She's about average. She does okay, but she's not really great at it. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 5. And in terms of practice, she's above average. So she practices more than the usual person, and she learns. She's trying to learn more than the usual person. She reads some books. So she's about a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. Now Tom, on the other hand, he's a very good communicator, and he doesn't mind selling. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, Tom is a 7. And when it comes to practicing, learning, reading books, he's also at a 6, a little bit above average. Now, when it comes to the X factor, Sarah is the type of person that does whatever it takes to get better. She is so eager to get better that she gets up every morning really, really early. She's the first in class. She always asks, how can I get better? How can I get better? What is the next step? What do I need to do? She believes in herself. She does her affirmations. She does her visualizations. She does anything she can get her hands on to get better. So she has a really, really high attitude. Above average, let's say she's an 8 when it comes to attitude. Now, Tom, on the other hand, he has a good attitude, above average, but it's not to the level of Sarah. So his attitude is probably about a 6. So if you do the math, 5 plus 6 is 11 times 8, 88. And Tom, 7 plus 6 is 13 times 6 is 78. So even though Tom has more talent than Sarah when it comes to selling, and they both practice the same, with the X factor of attitude, Sarah outperforms Tom every time. Now, what am I trying to say with this? That if you're not very, very talented at something, specifically sales, there's hope yet for you. Because you can make it up with learning, with practicing, and most of all with attitude. Because attitude is everything. So it's the X factor in your life. When you start applying this in your teams and in your business and put the emphasis on this thing here, it will be a game changer, and you will see significant increases in sales, in business, in team development, mindset, in congruency, in all the things that are required to excel in your business. If this was helpful, please share it. And if you have any questions, type them in the comments. And until we meet again, you know the deal. Stay awesome.